Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. So, it's been a rather wild week to say the least, with the Xbox Activision acquisition, and really much of the discussion has kind of centered on Call of Duty. What is going to happen with that franchise going forward? Will it be exclusive to Xbox, or will future installments be multi-platform with the PlayStation included? And well, Phil Spencer actually did make an official response about this subject, which has created a lot of discussion as to exactly what it all means. So we're going to go over that today, and then we also do have some good news regarding the Call of Duty franchise, or really just for the Activision Blizzard Studios in general. It really does seem like they're going to have much more creative freedom with Xbox, which is one of the great things about this acquisition. So we're going to go over that one as well. First, though, we do need to talk about Battlefield 2042 because it sounds like EA isn't exactly happy with how this game has performed. Yeah, big surprise. We'll get into that here in just a moment. But the insider Tom Henderson, which has proven to be more than accurate, had this to say. EA is reportedly very disappointed with how Battlefield 2042 has performed and is looking at all the options when it comes to the title. This is including looking at free-to-play in some capacity. I'll have more on this tomorrow. Now, as of this video, he has not posted more about this, but it is very interesting to hear that they could possibly be pushing Battlefield 2042 into a free-to-play title. We have seen a lot of these competitive multiplayer games go in that direction, including Halo Infinite, so that could maybe inject some life into this game. But is anybody really surprised that EA is disappointed with how Battlefield 2042 has performed? It's really their fault. They rushed this game to the market, and that was very clear last year. It had problems before it released, and you could see how the development was going for that game. They made Criterion Games, which was supposed to work on Need for Speed. They took them off of Need for Speed to work on this title just so they could get it out during the holiday, and the end result was fans being disappointed with Battlefield 2042. So I really don't think that this game performing poorly is all that surprising. Yes, Battlefield is a big franchise, but people don't stick around just because it's a big franchise. They stick around because it's a good game, and Battlefield 2042 just did not meet fans' expectations. Now, maybe they could fix some of those problems and make it go free to play, and that could bring back some of the community, but I think EA should kind of take this as a lesson. Maybe don't rush out your game next time and then be surprised when it doesn't exactly perform to your expectations. Next up, we do have a release date for an exciting looking game, being LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. This game has been delayed several times in the past, as it was originally supposed to release in 2020, but got pushed back to 2021 and now to 2022. But luckily, it has finally got an official release date for April 5th. And I have to say, this game is quite impressive. They did show a pretty lengthy trailer for the Skywalker Saga, and the amount of content for this game is quite staggering. Yeah, you can actually start to understand why this game has been delayed a few times, because it does adapt all 9 movies in the Skywalker Saga, which that is already impressive alone. But beyond that, you can unlock more than 300 playable characters. There's more than 100 vehicles in this game. There's 23 different planets to explore, and visually it looks like a really good game as well. This game is quite impressive in how much content they jammed into this game, to say the least. And even with the gameplay, it seems like it's quite varied. It seems like there's plenty of things to do in this game, and whether you like Star Wars or if you like the LEGO games, this looks like a high quality release. And again, it will be releasing on April 5th. Unfortunately though, as they revealed this lengthy trailer here, there was also some reports going around of some pretty extensive crunch culture within TT Games. Apparently it's not just with this game in particular, but with really all of the LEGO games. But it seems like to make this one happen, yes, there was quite an extensive crunch to make this game happen. Staff over there did say that it wasn't uncommon to work 80 to 100 hour long weeks, which is absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, this game looks exciting and everything, but this is something in the game industry that I would really like to see improve going forward. Far too often does it seem like the people that is bringing us enjoyment is also suffering to bring us enjoyment at the same time. It's really unfortunate that we've gotten to this point, but however, this does look like a really good game, and if you do like the Star Wars franchise, or if you like LEGO games, then you might want to keep an eye out for this one, which again will be releasing on April 5th. Okay, so let's go and talk about Call of Duty once again, and whether or not it will be exclusive to Xbox after that Activision Blizzard acquisition? This is a huge question looming over the game industry, considering just how big the Call of Duty franchise is. And I've kind of been back and forth on what I've thought is going to happen. When the Activision Blizzard acquisition was first announced, I kind of thought, well, they'll probably treat Call of Duty similar to what they've treated Minecraft. But then I started to think about it, and I was like, well, you know, Xbox Game Pass is incredibly important, and their end goal is to grow Xbox Game Pass, and well, Call of Duty would certainly accelerate that growth if it was exclusive, so maybe they will make it exclusive. But then Xbox Phil Spencer himself responded to the situation, and he had a very interesting statement over on Twitter, and yeah, let's just go and check out what he had to say. Had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry and we value our relationship. And this is an interesting statement because at first glance, it seems like he's confirming that Call of Duty games will be multi-platform going forward. But then you start to look into the wording here, and it seems like there's a little bit more going on. He says things like intent, and it's their desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. He doesn't actually say future Call of Duty games will release on PlayStation, but he does say that they will honor all existing agreements upon acquisition. So it does seem like that this statement was deliberately worded, and many people even believe it's a little vague. Now, we can just take this statement at face value and believe that Call of Duty is going to be multi-platform from this point forward, and that they're simply just going to treat it like Minecraft, which if they do that, I think that that's perfectly fine. Everybody wins in that situation. Xbox fans will get Call of Duty releases day one in Xbox Game Pass, the PlayStation community will continue to be able to play Call of Duty, and there'll be no more of those time deals that we keep seeing with the Call of Duty franchise. Getting rid of those time deals would already be a benefit for other platforms, but is this really what Phil Spencer is saying? Is he actually saying that Call of Duty will be multi-platform going forward? And that's where there's some different interpretations with his messaging here, because to start this off, he actually talks about honoring existing agreements upon acquisition. And as we talked about before, PlayStation does have a marketing deal with the Call of Duty franchise. So depending on how long that contract is, it could mean that Xbox is obligated to bring Call of Duty games to PlayStation, or at least until that contract is up. So that's kind of the first part of this, but the one word that everybody seems to be laser focused on, it's his desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. He doesn't actually say that new Call of Duty games will come to PlayStation, but rather it's his desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Now that could simply mean that current Call of Duty games will continue to be on PlayStation, including Warzone, which, as I've stated before, will continue to get support on PlayStation. That's not really some big surprise there. But then there's also some speculation that he might be asking Sony for something in return, maybe something like Xbox Game Pass to come over to PlayStation. Now, that would be quite interesting, but I'm actually going to dive into this a little bit further because I do find it interesting that some people do believe that he might be asking for something in return. And I don't think that Xbox Game Pass is necessarily the only bargaining chip. What I mean by that is it's kind of an eye for an eye type of deal. I think a lot of the community are kind of upset with Xbox possibly locking down a popular franchise to the Xbox ecosystem, but at the same time, PlayStation isn't innocent at all when it comes to this type of stuff. Here recently, they've locked down both Final Fantasy VII Remake as well as Final Fantasy XVI on the PlayStation consoles, and there's also rumors that pretty much all of the mainline Final Fantasy games will be exclusive to PlayStation this generation. And then beyond that, they've also locked down things like Street Fighter V. In both situations, these are massive franchises to very specific genres. Street Fighter is one of the biggest fighting games, and Final Fantasy is one of the biggest JRPGs, and that has a big impact on the community for Xbox. So Phil Spencer could actually use Call of Duty as a bit of a bargaining chip and say, hey, if you want to play nice, then you also have to stop locking us out of franchises and we'll help each other out. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen or anything, but it will be very interesting to see what happens with Call of Duty going forward. There's also some speculation that they might have to make Call of Duty multi-platform just to complete the Activision Blizzard acquisition. There are some legal questions when it comes to this acquisition, and they could end up sacrificing Call of Duty and make a multi-platform to make sure this acquisition makes it through the process, and that way they can have all these other studios work in a more balanced environment, bring all these underutilized and dormant IP to Xbox exclusively. But for those wanting a 100% definitive answer without the loopholes, well, we're probably just going to have to wait until the acquisition is completed. It's going to be a little while, and I just hope everybody's ready to hear all the speculation about Call of Duty's exclusivity over the next year, because I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about this in the coming months. Now, disregarding all of the exclusivity stuff, we did actually get some good news when it comes to the Call of Duty franchise. And this is a report going around that with this acquisition, Call of Duty could end up ditching that yearly schedule. This is a report coming from Jason Schreier over on Bloomberg, and this is absolutely fantastic news. I know that there's a lot of concern when it comes to consolidation right now, but this is actually one of the good things that can come from an acquisition like this. Microsoft does have a chance to improve the culture for Activision Blizzard, but they can also alleviate some of the frustration that we have seen from the community in recent years, with Activision pretty much only focusing on Call of Duty. I mean, yes, Call of Duty is a massive franchise, but Activision has a lot of really popular IP, and their studios just has not been able to make those games because they're only focusing on Call of Duty to have those yearly releases. I mean, you have 4 different studios being Treyarch, Infinity Ward, you have Sledgehammer, and Raven, all working on individual Call of Duty games to release a new game every single year. On top of that, all the other Activision studios are actually supporting these Call of Duty releases. So instead of being able to work on the next Crash Bandicoot game, Toys for Bob is actually helping out with Call of Duty. Instead of Beanox being able to work on another kart racing game, well, they're helping out with Call of Duty. And this goes for all of the Activision studios. Activision's sole focus on Call of Duty has created frustration both with employees as well as with the community. It makes Activision a lot of money, but it lacks in innovation. And this is something that Xbox can, and it looks like that they will fix with this acquisition. And I think that's the most exciting part about this acquisition. In fact, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Call of Duty, but I am a big fan of Crash Bandicoot. I am a big fan of Spyro, and I would love to see more of those games. And I think under Xbox, we have a much higher chance of that happening sooner rather than later. And that's kind of what I find so crazy about this whole situation, because just 1 week ago, fans were frustrated with Activision Blizzard, but here in less than 1 week, Phil Spencer has the community excited about the future of Activision. He's been talking about things like having more variety when it comes to their games, maybe bring back other franchises such as Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. He even mentioned Hexen, which is an old first-person shooter that has been long forgotten when it comes to Activision. Then there's the talk about giving studios more creative freedom. Maybe you don't need 4 different studios to work on individual Call of Duty games. Maybe have somebody like Sledgehammer and Raven work on a completely new IP for a change. Then we're also hearing that Call of Duty might no longer be an annual franchise. That means that they can focus more on quality and it won't burn fans out quite as much. So all of these changes sound absolutely fantastic. It's great for gamers, it's great for innovation, it's good for their staff, and you can really see here that leadership absolutely matters. Again, I know that an acquisition of this size can certainly be concerning for some fans out there, but you can clearly see that there's a lot of good that can come from this acquisition as well, considering how much people did not like Activision Blizzard, and then all of a sudden that excitement is right back because Phil Spencer seems like he is saying all of the right stuff. Now it's just about execution. Let's go and move on over to the poll of the day, though, and this is probably the most exciting part about this acquisition to me because we are going to actually get to see other studios work on what they want to work on, such as Toys for Bob, such as Beanox, and maybe Vicarious Visions will even be brought back. So I wanted to ask you all, which mascot platformer would you most like to see get a new game from Xbox and Activision? And well, the winner here was Banjo-Kazooie with 36% of the votes. Second place was Conker with 23%. Crash Bandicoot came in at third at 20%, and then Spyro at 16%. It does seem like most of the voting here was pretty close, but Banjo-Kazooie was definitely the winner. And yeah, I think for us Banjo fans out there, it would be really nice to see this game finally return. They do now have the studios to do it, and I think that they should actually take a similar approach as to what they did with Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, and that's basically to remake the first 2 Banjo games, and then after that, then they can make a Banjo 3. Now, one thing that I know some fans out there will ask is, why hasn't Rare actually made a new Banjo-Kazooie game? And the thing about that is that Rare doesn't actually want to make a new Banjo-Kazooie game, and that's why we haven't seen a new Banjo in such a long time. But I think with these new studios here having such a good reputation with these style of games, Xbox has the resources now, and yeah, Banjo's return is definitely sounding much more likely with this acquisition. Now, as for these other games here, I mean, I would really love to see any one of these games. I love Conker, I love Crash Bandicoot, and I also love Spyro, so any of these games I would absolutely be thrilled about. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.